Good morning, everybody. I'm Redrick Terry.
And I'm Alexandria Gamoni. Thanks for watching Local 4 News this morning. Our monthly roundtable discussion on issues in our area continues today.
Yeah, and we're talking about an initiative to make the Quad Cities a better place for everyone. Q2030 is an initiative to help make the community and economic development more creative, connected, and prosperous by the year 2030.
Now, some of the goals include things like getting more 25 to 34-year-old professionals to grow the average income and change the current poverty trends and more. Local 4 News Director Mike Mickles leading that discussion for us this morning live at the Maid Right in Davenport. We're going to send things over to him. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, everyone. I am your host for Local 4 News Over Coffee, Mike Mickle, and we're at the Maid Right at 53rd and Jersey Ridge, and we are talking today about something that is near and dear to my heart. It's called Q2030. It's a Quad City Chamber initiative to attract and keep young talent right here in the Quad Cities and grow our community. We've got a great group of experts around the table, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. I'm going to start right here.
Sure.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, Mike. Thanks for having us.
Good to be here.
Greg Aguilar with the Quad Cities Chamber, Director of Q2030, our regional action plan.
Awesome.
I'm Andrew Dasso, Principal Architect of Streamline Architects and Artisans.
My name is Dan Bush. I'm a local business owner. I own Armored Gardens, Analog Arcade Bar, and my business partners and I are opening a new place called Devon's Complaint Department. It'll be open in about 4 weeks.
Great.
I'm Hannah Thompson. I'm the Communications Director and Foundation Secretary for the Pleasant Valley School District.
Thank you all for waking up early and being here. You all bring a lot to the table as we talk about this. Greg, I'm going to talk with you. I can remember when Q2030 was first being discussed with the Quad City Chamber. And one of the things that really appealed to me, now having two kids in college, one about to graduate, and then a junior in high school, I remember saying, look, if our kids decide that they want to spread their wings and experience a different part of the country, good for them. I just don't ever want them to not be able to return home because there's not something here for them. And boy, have we made great strides in this community.
Yeah, and you know, when Q2030 started, it was an idea. Can we work together as a region? Are we better together if we work with each other? And we're realizing that we are. I think sometimes we forget that there's a lot of communities that build up the Quad Cities, but we work really well together as one mid-sized city for our region. But what's important with Q2030 is about creating a sense of place for people, a place where people want to live, you know, a place that has cool spots to hang out, you know, a place for creative people, and a collaborative environment for a prosperous economy. And we're working on all of that together. What's great is all of our partners, all of our endorsers, and it's because it's a Q2030 movement, and it's people at this table, it's people in businesses saying, what can I do to help create a better sense of place in the Quad Cities?
You know, talk about some cool places. Let's talk about the Rust Belt, Andrew, and some of the other things that you're working on.
Well, the Rust Belt, special place in our heart. That we just moved our office to along kind of the shops of the Rust Belt. You know, what we've kind of strived to do is create experiences throughout the Quad Cities, and that one, the music venue is perfect, but there's a brewery there, Midwest Ale Works. There's a restaurant opening soon, a hair salon, a barber shop, a coffee shop, our architecture firm, fabrication shop. So we're creating an experience. We're hoping people come over to East Moline and spend the day there, and kind of experience, you know, all likes of the area down there. So.
I think that's great. And I have to talk to Dan for a moment. I think one of the coolest places in the Quad Cities is Analog Arcade. And you bring in old guys like me all the way through the 20-something-year-olds. So
Yeah.
where did you come up with that concept?
You know, I just have a love for those old games, and there was actually a bar in town that had one of my favorite games from when I was a kid, and I found myself just going there a lot just to play that one game. And I was like, wouldn't it be great if there was like a place with 50 of these? And that's really how it started about 4 years ago.
I can't tell you how many quarters I've spent on Galaga.
Good.
I rarely
Good.
win, but I still love Galaga.
It's a great game.
So
Yeah.
did it surprise you? Did you have one part of the population that you were really trying to attract, or did you really know that this was going to appeal to all ages?
Yeah, I thought we'd find just a lot of guys in their 30s who remember it from when they were 12. But what we found is that it really appeals to everybody. I mean, we have people who are their first day as a 21-year-old, they show up, and we have people in our skee ball leagues in their 60s. So we really see a wide variety of people.
I'm not the oldest guy in the bar. That feels good. That feels good. Thanks for letting me know that. We talk about attracting and retaining young talent. Hannah, I want to talk to you. You grew up in the Quad Cities. You went away, not far for college, but you wanted to come back. Tell me why.
My time at the University of Iowa was incredible. I was very involved and engaged. I went to Pleasant Valley and thought that I wanted to stay, not away, because I'm very close with my family. I have most of my good friends have stayed in the Quad Cities as well. But once I had the opportunity to come back to PV, it was kind of just a no-brainer to be able to impact my community the way that my teachers and educators and mentors did for me has been irreplaceable, honestly. I have relationships with the students, with high schoolers to elementary kids, and am able to work with the people that helped mold me, and now they're my peers, and it's kind of goofy at first because, you know, my second grade teacher is still a second grade teacher. He was not happy when I came back, so he was like, this means I'm old. But it's been amazing to restart those relationships as an adult and to be able to impact this community the way it did for me.
So are those teachers on a first name basis now, or are they still?
You know, I can't really do it. Maybe like just last name without the title.
Okay.
I do that a lot.
All right,
I
you can
just
handle
can't.
that.
They
Gotcha.
still just seem more adult than me.
So what are our strengths here for people your age?
You know, things have changed a lot here. I mean, I spend a lot of time at your establishments with my friends in the leagues, in doing different activities that you don't know are available and that weren't available necessarily when I was in high school and in early college. I think that we offer a wide variety of activities, engaging careers and community events. And, you know, there's a larger base of young people here that a lot of people don't know about. When I came back, I was like, am I going to make friends that aren't already my friends that are around my age? That was one of my biggest fears. And it hasn't been a problem at all, to be honest. It was hard at first because you have to put yourself out there and remake those connections. But I think that's that growing population of people that are my age, you know, 25 to 28, early in their careers, looking for advancement, wanting to get involved and get engaged. I think we have a really big group there that's excited to be here.
All right, sir. Known you for years. You've been leading this charge, and I know how passionate you are about it. Hearing something like this, what's going through your mind right now?
Well, it's hitting the goals of what we've always been trying to do about balanced growth. You know, I'm seeing two entrepreneurs here at our table who have created cool places on both sides of the river. Hearing stories of connecting with friends and family, I think that's a big message we have to get out there, that our friends and family are extremely helpful in recruiting and retaining talent. You know, I think of a lot of our grandparents in our community. I would love for them to start reaching out to their grandkids and say, I just went to Armored Gardens and had a blast on their patio, or I just checked out a show at the Rust Belt, and share that with them, because we can be our own best friends, and if we're not careful, we can also hurt ourselves if we're not sharing our story. And I think it's great that young people, like all of us here at this table, are saying, you know what, I want to create a better sense of place. I have an idea. Let me drive this idea. People aren't asking for permission. They're just getting it done, and it's working. It's working because we're showing our authentic selves. When you look at our establishments, we're embracing our history. We're trying to we, of course, new development is wonderful, but we're also trying to embrace that what we already have here, celebrate it, and showcase who we are authentically as Quad citizens.
You know, you talked about this a little bit too, and one of the things that I love about what I'm seeing here is that, you know, we don't need two tax layer centers. We have one. You know, we don't need two Rust Belts. We already have one. We don't need, I might argue that we might need several analog arcades because I love them.
It's a lot of games.
But each community still has its own identity. But boy, when you put us all together, do we have a lot to offer.
Well, I think it's neat too, because every community has its own personality. Most of us grew up here, and I've never looked at it as individual cities. I'm from the neighborhood of East Moline. I'm going to go check out my grandparents who are in the neighborhood of Davenport. And I'm not afraid to check out other neighborhoods. And then within the neighborhoods, it breaks down even farther. You know, are you downtown, or are you on the West End? And everything has its own culture, and you can find your sense of place. It's up to each Quad citizen to determine where do they feel most comfortable, and they're going to find it. And it doesn't matter what side of your river you're on, because both sides are great.
But I would encourage everyone to maybe step outside their comfort zone a little bit, even though they think this is my place. to just experience what all the Quad Cities has to
Oh,
offer.
I mean, just the food alone and the new establishments and sports facilities that are happening. I mean, we have movie theaters and then even our theater scene. We have a really incredible live theater here in the Quad Cities that, you know, get out there and celebrate it. And there's a lot of conversation happening. We need to encourage Quad citizens to get out of the house. Don't go home right after work or school. There is plenty to do on both sides of the river, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think one of the coolest spots in the Quad Cities is the Renwick Mansion, which has been basically a wedding venue and bed and breakfast. It turned into a venue. I mean, they're having rock and roll shows. They're having stand-up comedy on almost a weekly basis now, and it's like this little secret that we have in the Quad Cities that, you know, the people who have discovered it are just blown away by it.
We were there for a photo shoot, and you're right. It's just an incredible building. I mean, just you walk inside, you're automatically in awe of what you're seeing there. So I'm glad to hear that they're having regular. You just taught me something. I didn't realize that they were having regular.
Oh, the comedy shows are incredible there. I mean, they're getting talent from New York City. It's really, really fun.
It's awesome. As you can tell, we have a lot more to talk about when it comes to Q2030, a great group of guests. Right now we're going to send it back to the studio, but we'll be back just in a few minutes with more Local 4 news over coffee.
All right, Mike, thanks. We'll check in with you a little bit later. Great conversation going on there already.